Just to be clear, as chair of the Progressive Caucus and Brendan is a member, we have said the same thing, that there are really two choices here because we are in a place where we have to deliver on the many promises we've made, passing H.R. 1, passing the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, passing a $15 minimum wage. All of these things are actually bipartisan across the country. And so we have two choices here. We either, well, I guess we have a third, which is to give Mitch McConnell the override, the veto power for everything that Democrats have promised and want to do. But the other is we can include it in reconciliation, and overruling the parliamentarian is not unprecedented. Hubert Humphrey did it in 1967 and 1969. Rockefeller did it in 1975. But if we're not going to do that, then the other path is the filibuster, and Elizabeth is right. This is all because of the way the rules were set up. And frankly, the filibuster was set up to really strengthen the power of Southern segregationists. And that is the history of the filibuster. So we should be very clear that I believe President Biden wants to do everything he can to address racial inequity in this country and inequality. And if we are going to deliver on those promises, we will have to reform the filibuster.
Yes. And to follow up on that question, did the parliamentarians' decision sort of give you one issue that you can peg ending the filibuster to, as opposed to maybe in the abstract, the entire agenda? Is there a strategy or conversations to maybe just peg this conversation?
Look, I don't want a strategy. I want us to get rid of the filibuster because it is too costly to America. The piece in front of us right now is the minimum wage. But the piece that's coming up is the Voting Rights Act. And the piece after that is immigration reform. And another piece is universal child care. The infrastructure package is very different if the Republicans get a veto at every turn through that process. So if we want to deliver on our promises, we got to be willing to get out there and fight for it. And that starts with getting rid of the filibuster. Brendan, you want to add something?
I just add something real quick because this has been a pet peeve of mine for a long time, and I have the opportunity. There's one advantage of having a Philadelphian up on this stage. This very issue was debated at the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. They considered the idea, if you read the Federalist Papers in two different sightings, Hamilton and Madison talk about this, they considered the concept of a supermajority, and they rejected it. So people who argue, I was on a TV show and a person brought this up, oh, well, you're going against the way it's always been, our founding fathers. Nonsense. That is complete garbage. That is bad history. The fact of the matter is our nation's founders were quite smart. They were not perfect, but they were wise. They considered the supermajority requirement, which is what the filibuster is. They considered a supermajority requirement in the upper chamber, and they rejected it. And they rejected it for exactly what we're seeing now, almost a quarter of a millennium later.
Going off of that, though, respectfully, you have two Democratic colleagues of yours, Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema, who have also said that they don't support ending the filibuster, and they've been against raising the minimum wage in this provision to $15 an hour as well. So, are you worried about pushing progressive policy through when you have opposition within your own party and there's this division between progressives and moderates?
Look, I know that everyone likes to talk about the divisions within our party, but what brings us to Washington as Democrats is that we're trying to make this government work for working people. I believe all of us are in favor of raising the minimum wage. I believe all of us are in favor of better support for our children and more housing opportunities, more investment in infrastructure. Now, there are going to be ways that we're going to have to negotiate with each other on those. But the key is that we are here to get things done. And the more that Mitch McConnell blocks, then I believe the case gets stronger and stronger for filibuster reform. Just one more? All righty. Two more.
Do Leader Schumer and Speaker Pelosi support the wealth tax? Do they support putting it on the floor for the vote?
You should ask them.
You're on the leadership team.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have any?
I don't want to speak for them, but I do want you to know they know about this, and we have spoken about this. But you should. I shouldn't speak for someone else.
Follow up on minimum
Sure.
wage. Are the members here prepared to go vote against the stimulus bill if it doesn't have minimum wage? Are you making that explicit threat?
Go ahead.
What we have said is we have to look at the final package. We have to look and make sure that it is not weakened in any way. I'm very proud of us in the House, and progressives were a key part of keeping not only the $15 minimum wage in, but also the survival checks at the same income thresholds that were originally there in December. And so we need to see what's in the final package. But we have made it clear that the minimum wage is a priority for us, and that keeping it at the same level with the same items that we passed in the House is going to be very important for progressives.
Good.
Quick wealth tax question.
Sure. We'll do a real quick wealth tax.
Real quick one. You had mentioned, Senator Warren, revenues that would be raised from this. Just to make sure I understand, do you believe those revenues should go toward reducing the debt or to fund other priorities?
Look, I think it should go to fund other priorities. But the point is, this is $3 trillion over the next 10 years. And yet it would affect only 100,000 families in America. And I just hope everybody dials in on that for a second. We talk about income inequality in this country, and the slope kind of looks like this. But it's wealth inequality where the slope looks like this. The difference between the very tippy top and the rest of America is enormous. And that very top is not paying a fair share. They are paying less than half of their wealth in taxes, unlike the 99%. We're just asking them, we're saying, you made it there, good for you, but pitch in 2 cents so that other kids in America have a chance to build a future. That's what this is about, building a future. Good. Thank you. And I want to thank my 2 colleagues for being here. It is terrific, always terrific to work with good people from the House, but I'm delighted to have someone from Ways and Means. This is exciting. And I'm excited now to be in finance over on the Senate side, and I'm always delighted to be here with Congresswoman Jayapal in this and the leader of the Progressive Caucus. So thank you all for being here. Thank you.
All right.
We did this. There we go.